Yeah, I don't see that. But when I was reading this article, Kirk Barrels, he detailed a time that, after Biggie was killed, he was advocating for Biggie to be on the cover of Rolling Stone, and Diddy said no. He made a comment saying that no, Biggie is dead. I'm putting out No Way Out. I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone.
I was actually I was bodyguarding Puff at that time, and I bodyguarded him through that whole Rolling Stone interview. And the crazy thing about it is that I remember that whole story vividly. You understand? Puff was doing No Way Out. He was taking the runs of Bad Boy and putting it on his shoulder because it's his company. He had to do the music, but they wanted to do like Big had a short-lived life, but the legacy, you understand? And Rolling Stone at that time, you talking about 90, 97. It wasn't too many of us on that Rolling Stone. It wasn't too many of us on Rolling Stones. And Rolling Stones could have been considered what some people may say somewhat of a racist newspaper, a racist, um, publication. They wasn't making us like our culture. They wasn't putting us on the magazine of doing articles on us like they've done in the last 10, 15 years. You understand? So back then, for them to put Big on there and say it to his legacy, that would have been something real big for Rolling Stones and for Big and the people from New York, Brooklyn, and the hip hop culture, because he did lose his life for nothing. Puff advocated and said that if I own the marketing and I own the publishing, what could they do? They can't market Big on anything because he owned most of it. They had to get his approval. That's what people don't know. That coming to the marketing part of it. But I do know of an incident with Rolling Stones prior to Pac and Big being dead with one of the Rolling Stones reporters. And that was crazy. And I spoke about it before. You understand? That's when that's when Tupac, Suge, me, Puff, and Kenny and Riz was together, and we met behind the House of Blues. Now, if you want to hear that one, I could tell you that story. And that story, oh yeah. We were interviewing with Rolling Stones, and I'm sure it was Rolling Stones. It wasn't Billboard, it was Rolling Stone. And Riz was in the behind the passenger. The reporter was in the middle, and I was behind the driver, Kenny. And we driving behind the House of Blues. And we was driving behind the House of Blues, we see Tupac and we see Suge. Suge is in a red drop top, I guess it's a Rolls Royce or a Bentley. And Tupac is in a white one, Rolls Royce, Bentley, both drop top. And it was a van a couple of car lengths back behind them. I knew they was with them because there's no way they riding around with drop tops and they don't have no security. So then we had drove past them. And then Riz was like, yo, there go them niggas right there. There go those dudes right there. We drove back around. When we drove back around, Puff tried to speak to Pac. Yo, Pac, what's up? Pac is on his cell phone. Pac looked at him and just turned his head, didn't say nothing. Riz was in the back seat, and Riz was like, talk to Suge, Suge the boss. F Pac, talk to Suge. We drive up to Suge. Then Puff had a conversation with Suge. Yo, Suge, you know any problems we got out here? We got any problems out here? Suge said, I don't know any problems y'all got out here. So Puff was like, yo, so we good? He said, yeah, I guess, yeah, y'all good. Why wouldn't y'all be good? The conversation went like that. But at this time, Riz was sitting behind Puff with 240 cows in his hand. You know what I'm saying? And the reporter was sitting right there. So we drove up, I think it's like a hill right up there. We drove up, and when we got to the top, Puff turned around and looked at the reporter. He said, yo, I bet not hear nothing about what just went on. You can't put this in no article, and you can't never speak on it. I bet not hear about nothing. You got me? Porter said, yeah. And he didn't speak on it in the article.
And you said that Pac, he didn't want to speak to Diddy?
Not at all. He looked at him, turned his head. I guess he was, because Suge was on the phone too. They was probably talking to each other. You know what I mean?
So what do you personally think came of that conversation?
Personally, I know what came of that conversation because a couple of days later, because we were still in LA, Suge went to New York. And he had that meeting with Eric B, Big D, some other people like Chasnum or whatever like that. They had that meeting and they were starting Death Row East with Eric B. They was trying to squash that whole beef with Big and Tupac. So while we was out of California, Puff get a phone call. It's Haitian Jack on the phone. Haitian Jack is telling Puff that Zip, Big D, Eric B, all of them out here is partying with Suge. Puff calls Zip, and Zip says, he just started laughing. And Puff said, man, y'all making me look bad, man. Y'all sitting up there, y'all partying with old boy and everything like that. Y'all, what you call? Zip, you can hear Zip laughing, and Zip just hung up the phone on him. You understand? So if Puff would have sent a representative like Zip and them asked him to, prior to that whole conversation, neither one of them kids would have been dead. They would have squashed that whole beef. Now, I don't know about Pac's situation at the casino, but it wouldn't have been no beef with Big and Pac no more.
Why do you think Diddy was so adamant about that night getting out?
Bruh, how you gonna report that when they rolled up on Suge Knight and Tupac, there was a gunman in the back that was ready to do harm or could have done harm to to Pac or Suge? Riz was that type of dude, bruh. Everybody know Gert was that type of dude. He was one of those quiet type of gangsters that you didn't want to meet in a dark alley or even a lighted room. He's the same guy that died out there with BMF with Wolf. So he was about that life. God bless the dead. Yo, if you watch that Rolling Stones, if you read the Rolling Stones, it's a lot of information they got from your show, brother. When we talked about it, all they did say a source, a bad boy source. You know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't do the interview with them. You understand what I'm saying? So they said a bad boy source. All they did was try to they got a lot of information off of your platform. Then they went and said a bad boy source, not revealing the source who told them, which was me, and I didn't tell them nothing. It's just what they heard me say during these interviews.